What is more relevant than time itself? What could possibly kick off when time is not yet a reality? Nothing stands for a meaning or exists when time is absent except the one name who has created time by his power. He alone knows where we came from and where we're heading to. He informed us how to held count the unit of time. Just according to the principles of this channel, from this our first video, we're going to erect the solar calendar using exclusively the ingredients of the 7th century. For those who haven't watched the introductory video, they may do so for a better understanding before embarking into a new world of discoveries. As we all know, calendars deal with periods categorized as the following. 1. Day of the week, WD, will abbreviate it here, numbered from 1 to 7. A day in the meaning is that which is apparent to us from a point of time, either in presence or absence of sunlight, until it returns to the same point. 2. The week itself, which has no visible or astronomical presence, but used just as a quantification of a repeating schedule. 3. The month, from where the terms solar and lunar will start to be used, as a unit of number of days or constituents of a year. A solar month does not have a visible or astronomical presence, just as a week. It is merely used to divide a year into 12 parts, and as a quantification of a repeating schedule. A lunar month, on the other hand, has a visible and also astronomical presence. Visible as we can witness the new moon waxing until waning to obscurity. Astronomical in the sense that it defines the moment when the trio, Earth, Moon, Sun, depart from alignment, until it returns to the same point. 4. The year, which also has a connotation in solar and lunar derivatives, is a measurement that constitutes a set number of days or months. The lunar year is quantified as a block number of 12 months, with boundaries distinguishable based on the trajectory the moon follows at the end of each crescent to complete its cycle. The solar year is the most known cycle that sparks astrology. It is known as the number of days the Earth takes to complete a full elliptical circle around the Sun following a precise orbit. We can feel it as tropical seasons on land, thanks to the tilt position of our planet in regard to its star. And without this phenomenon, days could not be regrouped into a set of years. This number is known to be 365 or 366 days, according to astrophysicists, calendar issuers, and also according to our interpretation of Al-Quran as we have just discovered it, and this what we're going to make known to mankind in this episode. The first ingredient, day, yom in Arabic. This word is often used in Al-Quran to mark a period or amount of time, and it varies depending the dimension which the verse is related to. For example, a day which is equal to 1,000 years, or even a day which is equal to 50,000 years. But these are not our point of interest in this topic. The day we want to pin is our earthly day. Surah 55 verse 29. Every being within the multiverse asks from him, every day he is in a matter. This here defines a full day, the combination of a couple, presence and absence of sunlight. The second ingredient, week. The week, as we explained before, is set just for schedule purposes. It doesn't have a visible, physical or astronomical boundary. Surah 62 verse 9. O you who have believed, when is called for the prayer on the day of Jumu'ah, then proceed to the remembrance of Allah and leave off all trade. That is better for you if you only knew. This here defines a full week corresponding to 7 days, the next 8th being the same day repeating itself. The third ingredient, month, shahr in Arabic. They are marked by the sighting of the crescent in the lunar calendar, but in the solar calendar in turn, they don't have any visible or physical boundaries except that we program. Surah 2, verses 183 to 185. O you who have believed, decreed upon you is fasting, as it was decreed upon those before you, that you may attain righteousness. A limited number of days. So whoever among you is ill or on a journey, then an equal number of other days. And upon those who are able a ransom of feeding a poor person, and whoever volunteers good, it is better for him. But to fast is best for you, if you only knew. The month of Ramadan, in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for the people, and clear proofs of guidance and criterion. So, whoever witnesses the month, let him fast it, and whoever is ill or on a journey, then an equal number of other days. Allah intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship, and for you to complete the period, and to glorify Allah for that which He has guided you, and perhaps you will be grateful. Here we were not given a precise number of days which constitutes a lunar month, but were just informed that they are limited. Observation by telescope or even naked eyes leads us to 29 or 30 days in number. The fourth ingredient, year, sana. Here we have attempted to make a brilliant discovery in the vocabulary of words used by the revelation. Noticeable is that whether a year is lunar or solar, the word sana in singular or sanain in plural was used, but interestingly the word was used just 4 times in overall and in a context that reflects seasons. Thus we establish a definition as it being exclusively tropical or solar year, which shapes its length through the 4 known seasons in any parts of the world. Since the year which was quantified in Al-Quran is lunar, means based on lunar months, we then must relate it to the solar and create a bridge between the two. Surah 9 verse 36. Indeed the number of months with Allah is 12 months in the register of Allah the day He created the multiverse. Of these, 4 are sacred. That is the correct religion, so do not wrong yourselves during them, and fight against the disbelievers collectively as they fight against you collectively, and know that Allah is with the righteous. From the above verse, no doubt was left in regard to the number of months in a lunar year, and added to that another ingredients to seal the link between the 2 phases. Surah 18 verse 25. And they remained in their cave for 300 years, and exceeded by 9. After narrating a long story about the companions of the cave, the correspondence 300 solar years for 309 lunar years was drafted. The question arising is that, is it an exact equality or just a close approximation? This will be a subject of proving in the lunar calendar video in further episodes. Then beside all, an explicit message code allowing us the usage of the moon and sun phases to count periods in time is needed, and that is exactly what we got. Surah 10 verse 5. It is He who made the sun a radiant source, and the moon a derived light, and determined for it phases, that you may know the number of years and account. Allah has not created this except in truth. He details the signs for people who know. A deep analysis of these verses will unveil that the solar and lunar phases are things set right after their creations. The determination of the new crescent by human sighting, after knowledge has come to us, is just an attempt to uphold a tradition, and a phase follows its course, regardless of the position we find ourselves at. With this granted permission, we now have the green light to search for constituents to establish equations that will lead us to erect the calendar we named Cosmic Calendar. The first equation. It is also found in Surah 18, in which the story of the companions of the cave was recited, and the chapter was named after it, from verse 9 to 26. As we cannot paste the entire story here for reading, a fascinating story full of wonders. Indeed, we recommend for the audience to read it in full at Quran.com/18 for a profound understanding. Just we will quote verses number 19 and 25, which pull out the equation. Surah 18 verses 19 and 25. And so we awakened them so that they might question one another. One of them exclaimed, "How long have you remained asleep?" Some replied, "Perhaps a day or part of a day." They said to one another, "Your Lord knows best how long you have remained. So send one of you with these silver coins of yours to the city, and let him find which food is the purest, and then bring you provisions from it. Let him be exceptionally cautious, and do not let him give you away." And they remained in their cave for 300 years, and exceeded by 9. The young men were caused to sleep in a cave by their Lord for centuries. And when they were awakened back to the realm of the world, they could not realize how long they tarried in their unconsciousness, assuming they remained a day or part of a day, from the time they slept in the cave, but eventually we are informed that they stayed for 300 solar years. Say for instance, our week is marked from WD 1 to 7, and the day they entered the cave is WD 1, and slept at night. If they remained for part of a day, their awakening day is WD 2, and when they remained over a full day, their awakening day is WD 3. A human mind cannot conceive that his sleep could have been deeper than this. The two conundrums put together are informing us that the 300th year anniversary of WD 1 will either fall on WD 2 or WD 3 for any given date. The Gregorian calendar, being the most accurate solar calendar of present time, could be put to test and affirm this enigma. Just for example, Friday the 25th of March 2022 300th anniversary will be Saturday, Friday plus 1, the 25th of March 2322, or another example, Thursday 2 of June 1994 will fall on Saturday, Thursday plus 2, the 2nd of June 2294, after 300 years. The equation we can derive from this is, for base day of the week equals sign y, y plus 300 years equals sign y plus 1, or y plus 300 years equals sign y plus 2. The second equation. It is also found in a story, this time of a man called Uzair, who was a prophet of God, related in the Revelation in chapter 2, verse 259. Or as the one who passed by a township which had fallen into ruin. He said, "How will Allah bring this to life after its death?" So Allah caused him to die for 100 years. Then He revived him. He said, "How long have you remained?" He said, "I have remained a day or part of a day." He said, "Rather you have remained 100 years. Look at your food and your drink. It has not changed with time. And look at your donkey, and we will make you a sign for the people. And look at the bones, how we raise them, and then we cover them with flesh." And when it became clear to him, he said, "I now know that Allah is over all things competent." In this story, the man, after asking how Allah could bring ruins back to life, was caused to die for 100 solar years and raised anew to life, then questioned how long he tarried in that state of death. Same as the response given by the companions of the cave, he also assumed a day or part of a day. Then he was informed he stayed for 100 years, and to prove him the fact, his Lord recorded back the lifetime of his dead donkey in front of his eyes, which see the donkey's scattered bones, pulling back to reassemble together, then being covered with flesh, before standing back to life. Just like if time is recorded back on itself days from the day to day, we will witness any dead body within the same time frame, raising from death to life. Thus, the Creator is proving us that He who can record back time on itself can surely cause resurrection, bringing deads back to life. Whenever a soul is taken out from its body, time stops moving forward for him. His only tell that remains is the past. Therefore, the day or part of a day could only be in the past, taking a negative sign to lead to the following equation. For base day of the week, equal sign y, y plus 100 years equal sign y minus 1, or y plus 100 years equal sign y minus 2. Again here we can pick dates and scroll down years of Gregorian calendar and confirm this. Just for example, Friday the 25th of March 2022, 100th anniversary will be Wednesday, Friday -2, the 25th of March 2122, or the other example, Thursday 2 of June 1994 will fall on Wednesday, Thursday -1, the 2nd of June 100 years later, meaning 2094. Using modular arithmetic to bring the four equations together, we will end up with the following reconciled mathematical problem. For base day of the week, equal sign y, ya plus 100 years equal sign y minus 2, y plus 200 years equal sign y minus 4, y plus 300 years equal sign y minus 6, y plus 400 years equal sign y. This above mathematical problem could also be written in another form for a repeating week composed of 7 days. Y plus 100 years equal sign y plus 5, y plus 200 years equal sign y plus 3, y plus 300 years equal sign y plus 1, y plus 400 years equal sign y. But again here let us conduct a few tests before getting over this century's projections. Friday the 25th of March 2022, 200th anniversary, will be Monday, Friday -4, the 25th of March 2222, and the same date 400 years later will fall on the same day of the week, Friday the 25th of March, but 2422. For the second example, Thursday 02 of June 1994, the 200th anniversary will be Monday, Thursday -3, the 2nd of June 2194, and the same date 400 years later will fall on the same day of the week, Thursday 02 June 2394. This last test on 200 years projection has failed. Instead of resulting Thursday -4, according to the reconciled equation, in fact, the 100 and 300 years also will fail for year 1994. But we will get to explain this failure once we comprehend the equation in depth. Then let us analyze the reconciled equation. For base day of the week, equal sign y, ya plus 100 years equal sign y minus 2, y plus 200 years equal sign y minus 4, y plus 300 years equal sign y minus 6, y plus 400 years equal sign y. We can notice that the projection of 400 years has broken a pattern which has lessened 2 digits, each plus 100 years. Instead of resulting y minus 8, it has equaled just y, which is also equal to y minus 7, as the same day is repeated after every 7 days in a weekly table. Then we get plus 400 years equal sign y equals y minus 7, also equal sign y, 8 plus 1. Knowing that y minus 8 was supposed to be the result of the pattern, breaking it to y minus 8 plus 1 means an extra day is added every 400 years, which is called century leap year. For those who are familiar with the Gregorian method, which adjusts that one day at the end of any month of February in years, with numbers divisible by 400, like 800, 1200, 1600, 2000, 2400 and so on. Each time we cross over these years in projecting a day of the week, that one day will affect the reconciled equation, which was the case of 1994, that crossed over year 2000. Therefore, the reconciled equation held its accuracy only in a 400-year frame, not crossing over any century leap year. Now another thing, as we know, these type of equations follow the same pattern when divided by a same number proportionally. Thus their results by 100 are 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years respectively. The last given us an extra day, as its counterpart 400 did, resulting to any year number divisible by 4, also to be a leap year, as in the Gregorian calendar, with the exception of the centuries that are not divisible by 400, proven beforehand to be non-leap years. By this, we come with a whole new methodology in establishing solar calendars, using projections on correspondent days of the week into the future, curving the use of the duration that Earth takes to complete a full elliptical cycle around the Sun. For we should not forget that the ingredients that led us to this brilliant discovery were from the 7th century, years in which the Romans were still committing the mistake by considering 100, 200 and 300 years as being leap years, drifting their Julian calendar off the tropical seasons, 3 days in every set of 400 years time frame. It is only in the mid to late 16th century that they got to realize and correct their error in calculation, leading to the Gregorian calendar, almost a millennium after the revelation of the Quran. I would judge this as a clear defiance of knowledge being proven here. The inputs in the start of the calendar issued from the verses of the Quran, uncovering the exact mistakes of the Romans who were in that era of civilization, the only close to accuracy in solar cycle accounting. Now, our first step on erecting the solar calendar is to calculate the number of days comprising a year, either leap or non-leap. For n being the number of days in one non-leap year, L being the number of days in a leap year, and x being the number of days in a set number of years, we have L equals n plus 1, x1 equal sign 1 year equal sign 1n plus 0 L, x2 equal sign 2 years equal sign 2n plus 0 L, x3 equal sign 3 years equal sign 3n plus 0 L, x4 equal sign 4 years equal sign 3n plus 1 L equal sign 4n plus 1. And for A being the number of weeks in X, and T being the remainder number of days to complete a week, we have x1 equal sign n equal sign 7a 1 plus t 1, x4 equal sign 7a4 plus t 4, x4 equal sign 4n plus 1 equal sign 28a 1 plus 4t 1 plus 1. This implies a4 equal sign 4a 1 and t4 equal sign 4t 1 plus 1. With t4 less than 7, the value of t1 could only be 1. We then have x1 equal sign n equal sign 7a 1 plus 1 and L equal sign 7a 1 plus 2. Going back to the correspondence between lunar and solar years, meaning 300 solar for 309 lunar years, we can deduct the least and highest number of days a tropical year could contain. As lunar months are known to have the least 29 days and the most 30 days by observation, we can deduct least number of days a solar year could contain equal 29, multiply 12, multiply 309, divided by 300, equal sign 358.44. Highest number of days a solar year could contain equal 30, multiply 12, multiply 309, divided by 300, equal sign 370.80. Therefore, n and L values are comprised between 359 and 370 numbers. Bringing back 3 of our previous equations. L equals n plus 1, n equals sign 7a1 plus 1, L equals sign 7a1 plus 2. A here is an integer. N minus 1 must be divisible by 7. In other words, n minus 1 must be a multiple of 7. The only value of A satisfying the two equations is 52. Therefore, n equals sign 7 multiply 52 plus 1 equals 365, and L equals 365 plus 1 equals sign 366. Our normal years will then count 365 days, and 1 extra day to be added to that number every 4 years. Except the multiples of 100, not divisible by 400. Using these figures, we can lay a calendar starting day 1 to infinite with weekly and yearly boundaries, marking the centuries and their properties. Mind-blowing, which intelligence could in the 7th century tell us with accuracy the day of the week which comes 1 or even 3 centuries after today date? Must be knowing the concept of leap and non-leap years, and the exact counting of the number of days in a tropical year before making such assertion, and the way the equations were embedded in the 2 verses, one with the positive sign and the other with the negative sign, are just proof that the Creator of the universe has hands in this tale, the All-Knower, the Master of the seen and unseen. He quoted in a verse, "Does he who created not know? He is the subtle, the aware." Translated from Arabic, verse 14 of chapter 67. The Dominium. Access the link below and take a look at a parent calendar to the Gregorian model, not known until now by any mind, established 1,400 plus years since revelation. To navigate through it, first, one needs to select the day of the week, which is the starting point, meaning day 0, and choose the centuries needed to be highlighted, and can start scrolling down, passing through century 1, 2, 3, each of them coming short 2 weekdays in succession from day 0 and the 4th century falling back on the selected weekday 0. By default, we have all centuries highlighted and mark their lunar correspondence for a better understanding. Useful knowledge we can deduct from this particular projection calendar could include the day of the week which falls after years in a set of 4 years frame. For base day of the week, equal sign y. Y plus 1 year equal sign y plus t, 1, where x, 1, equal sign 1, n equal sign 7a 1 plus 1 means t, 1, equal sign 1. Y plus 2 years equal sign y plus t, 2, where x, 2, equal sign 2, n equal sign 14a 1 plus 2 means t, 2, equal sign 2. Y plus 3 years equal sign y plus t, 3, where x, 3, equal sign 3, n equal sign 21, a 1 plus 3 means t, 3, equal sign 3. Y plus 4 years equal sign y plus t, 4, where x, 4, equal sign 4, n plus 1 equal sign 28, a 1 plus 5 means t, 4, equal sign 5. Similarly, we can also deduct the general ruling for s being any number of years. Y plus s years equal sign y plus ts, where xs equal sign sn plus q equal sign s, 7a1 plus 1 plus q, with q equal sign number of leap year in s years equal sign integers s divided by 4 minus s divided by 100, or equal sign integers s divided by 4 minus s divided by 100 plus ke, whenever we're crossing over k century leap year. xs equal sign s7, a1 plus s plus q implies ts equal sign s plus q, with ts being the remainder of days beyond a week of 7 days. We have ts equal sign s plus q equal sign 7a plus ts, where ts and 7, s plus q minus ts, equal sign 7a, since a must be an integer, s plus q ts must be divisible evenly by 7. In other words, s plus q minus ts must be a multiple of 7. ts equal sign s plus q minus 7a. The value of a is just the integer of s plus q divided by 7. Applying this projection to the Gregorian calendar demands more care, since its leap year adjustment is done at the end of February. Therefore, our base calendar year will correspond from the 1st of March to 28 or 29 of February in the Gregorians. Whenever our departing and landing dates are not aligned with the set of 4 or 400 years frame in the base calendar, the values of ts varies from range -1 to +1, depending on the leap year's adjustment in Q to give the corresponding day of the week of the projected date. The results will come as the following: WD in Gregorian equal sign TS -1 whenever the landing year hits a higher, non-leap century year, but S remains under the value of the century. WD in Gregorian equal sign TS +0 whenever the landing year hits a higher non-leap century year, S remains under the value of the century, and the departing year is not in line with the set of 4 years frame. WD in Gregorian equal sign TS +1 whenever the landing year hits a higher leap or century leap year, but the value of S is under the number 4 or any multiple of 4. Now then, with this we come to an end establishing our base solar calendar, but before leaving you awaiting the lunar one, we deem it necessary to unveil the coding of some verses from the noble book, bringing to light the courses and relations between earth, moon, and sun. Surah 36 verses 37 to 40. And a sign for them is the night. We strip from it daylight, then, behold, they are in darkness. And the sun runs on course for its fixed term. That is the determination of the exalted in might, the knowing. As for the moon, we have ordained precise phases for it, until it ends up like an old curved palm stalk. It is not allowable for the sun to reach the moon, nor is it for the night to outrun the day. Each is traveling in an orbit of their own. Consider that we are the attendees of these events, and we are represented by the earth where day and night alternate in rapid succession. Darkness is the default property of outer space. Daylight is only caused by the sun's radiation towards a limited surface on the planet. The first verse is making reference to this fact. Then, as soon as the light passes over, darkness is back. This verse is a witness that proves the earth is rotating on its axis. For such, it was formulated with this connotation. Or the other possible way is only if the sun is rotating around a stationary earth, which is negated in the following verse. The sun running on course for a fixed term of its own means the gravitational field which it is subjected to is not the center of the discussion, therefore not the earth. Moreover, for the sun movement to be the cause for day and night alternation, it has to be smaller than the planet, and much closer to complete the cycle in just 24 hours, which can never be possible. Earth would be reduced to breeze, or the cycle would take months or even years. The sun course might be the orbiting of the Sagittarius A, black hole in the center of the Milky Way galaxy, a theory that has just been established in recent years. As for the moon, there is no ambiguity in the verse composition. We, being the center of the discussion, the phase must be directed to us, and the form it takes is described as a circle. Physical shape, an old dried palm stalk, is always found to be curved. And finally, the boldest of statements, that the sun in no means can attract the moon by its gravitational force, for the cause that it is already subdued to the earth's attraction, meaning it can never take the moon off from orbiting the earth. As for the night not allowed to outrun the day, is to be explained by the fact that darkness is not to persist on earth over the usual timing, for the cause that the planet is in perpetual orbital movement, along with its star also running for a course, lest it would have left it behind with no radiation to cause daylight on earth's surface. And to resume, the verse has made clear to us that all above mentioned bodies, namely the earth, the moon and the sun, are in orbital movement in space, and this will last as long as entropy stays gradual, not disturbed by the inevitable mighty blow in the trumpet. Amazing book, the noble Quran. We'll leave you here pondering on this last paragraph before catching us on the up next breathtaking video that unlocks the hidden secrets of the cosmos from creation of space until the very end, the rolling up of the multiverse. To get the notification at release, subscribe to our channel and stay connected.